This morning we're going to do a little bit of a walk around, a test plow, and an overview of my HLA 1000 snow blade. This is manufactured in Canada, I believe by Hoist Welding. So it is a quality product, and a lot of things on it reflect that. However, we're going to talk about it a bit. For initial walk around on this product, you can see I've had some decent wear on it. I have used it quite a bit this season. I have a 1 kilometer driveway, and I've only had it for one snow season. But that's the point of a reversible / replaceable cutting edge. It is articulating right and left, and this joint in here actually does have quite a bit of angle movement, but it's not the same as the 3000 series HLAs, where you actually have a flat plate on the back that actually rotates on itself. We are just using essentially a bushing, I do believe. Mine was outfitted from the dealer with hydraulic line extensions for the tractor application versus a skid steer application to the 1/2-inch Pioneer, and that's how I purchased it. It is a standard quick attach, so it fits on pretty much anything that's modern. This is the adjustment level that these pads were set at when I got it, and I have not found any reason to make an adjustment on either of them. Today, for demo purposes, we'll be putting it on my Kioti CK3520 tractor, which for all I'm running for winter plowing is front tire chains, and specifically taking off the additional weight off my back, because summertime I usually run the backhoe attachment on the rear full time. But for plowing, definitely wanted more weight on the front, and all that does is take weight off your front tires. So once that was removed and chains were on, this thing actually plows like a dream team together. Here's a much better look of that not angle adjustment, but pivot adjustment might be the better term here. Let's see, what does HLA call it? That's what they call it right there. In this mechanism, that's what you get, and I can go with it. It's quite adequate for plowing applications. Of course, you get your maintenance and log tube that you get on most attachment machinery and such, but you can live right there. Here's our configuration of nuts for our carriage bolts that hold on the reversible replaceable cutting edge, as well as the replaceable feet, which I'm assuming they can replace, but obviously they unbolt and are a wear component, so I'm assuming you can purchase them. Underneath, that's what that looks like. Now, as the keen-eyed of you can see, that is not correct. We're going to get to that story. Why don't we get to that story right now? So we had a bit of a spring during the middle of our winter here in Canada in 2026, and we found this on the driveway. And I'm like, it's probably mine. What would have come off of trailer, tractor, whatever. So I'm like, black. I think I seen one of those. Looks pretty similar to some of the stuff on this snowblade package. So I start looking around, and yes, it's quite clear this has come off as the bottom bushing or receiver for this pin for the angle adjustment of the blade. Now fortunately, well at least I think it's fortunate, is the hole that this welds over top of is actually big enough that it drops the end of the factory clevis on the cylinder rod right into it. So the little bit of plowing, or a lot of bit of plowing I've been doing without this taking the force, hasn't been applied to our machined pin. Well, machined, whatever, rolled. Anyways, it's not going on our pin and not wallowing things out with a bunch of play. So it's actually not that bad. But what are the options? So you got something that's not even its first year and you find a problem like this. This is obviously a manufacturing defect, aka it was fit, tack welded, because you can see the 3 little tacks on it. And then it was overlooked and never fully well, basically full seal welded afterwards, like all the rest of them, for example, right there, full seal. And it was sent to paint and it passed whatever QC process there is. So what are the options? I'm sure I could reach out to my dealer and they'd either say, yeah, bring it back and we'll have it fixed, or they'll say bring it to any heavy shop that's, you know, reputable, and they'd foot the bill. I'm sure they would for a Canadian made product like this. But the fact of just bringing this attachment off site to somebody else to fix something as trivial as this, for most farm applications and stuff, you have handy people around. So we're just gonna quickly get through a repair on this, and then this bottom flange, I mean not flange, but member that this is drilled into is bent slight from the use I did before I knew of this problem. However, I'm just gonna place the pin in there so it aligns correctly, or very much so close enough for this application, while I redo the tacks, remove the pin for when I do the full seal and start applying quite a bit of heat in here. This is, I believe, 332/7018, roughly 90 amps. We'll see where we are. Decent ground without going through any bushings on this unit. So direct ground. And so yeah, let's do it up. By no means the prettiest thing I've ever welded back together, but she'll do. in conclusion, where do I land? I like it. It's built with steel of thickness that is repairable. If you're gonna beat on your attachment, maybe like I do. I wouldn't say I'm really hard on it, but I definitely have a washboardy 800 plus meter driveway, and scraping it adds wear and tear compared to using the rubber edge version on a nice perfect driveway to just scoot off a little snow. Definitely different use case. If I hadn't mentioned it before, this is the 84-inch version, which is, I was very happy about my dealer pointing out my lapse in judgment when asking for a certain size, is you need the 84 when it's fully angled over. You need the 84 wide so that when it is fully angled over, you have some clearance still on your stance of the tractor, or outside wheel to outside wheel width, so that you're still plowing in front of your tractor. So if you bought one, like for example, this tractor comes with a 66-inch bucket. If you bought the 60-inch, 65-inch, whatever they come in, size blade, and you'd angled it, you'd just be pushing snow right up against your tire instead of away from your tractor or skid steer or whatever you're using. It's a good point. But yeah, I'm happy. I'll answer any questions you guys got. If you got them, I'll do my best. Otherwise, have a good day.